Hi, it's Leslie Burns again from Gold Crown Event Planners talking about timelines. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with event planning, a timeline is a very valuable asset to an event planner. A timeline tells an event planner how on track the event is, and it includes all aspects of the event. It can be very short or it can be rather long. It depends on the period of time that you are given by the client for planning the event. For example, with a 2-year lead time for a wedding, you'll have a 2-year timeline. If someone comes to you and the client says we want to plan a party for next month, or we want to plan a convention for 3 months from now, so, a very small convention, you would either have the 1-month timeline for the party or the 3-month timeline for the convention. The timeline is basically a guide to things that need to be done or that have been done. So you would start out with, in 6 months we're going to do this, and in 4 months we're going to do that, and in 3 months we're going to do this, and in 30 days we're going to do that. 2 weeks before the event, 1 week before the event, the day before the event, the morning of the event, and the week after the event. Now, you say after the event. Well, after the event is things that need to take place after. That would be returning equipment, making sure if you're dealing with a bride and a groom that the cake part gets frozen, or that the thank you cards get sent out for something, or that the awards get shipped off to the right parties, that the boxes get sent wherever. Whatever finalizing of the event after the fact, cleanup type of situation needs to take place. That's what the timeline week after does. Now, with the timeline time beforehand, you will start out with basically a calendar, and you will look at the most important parts of this planning. 1, venue. 2, catering. 3, floral, entertainment. If you need transportation, if there's going to be travel involved, lodging, all of that's at the very beginning as far as checking into, going to see, doing site inspections, making sure that you have made arrangements or contractual arrangements with these facilities. This will involve deposits and reviewing contracts. Most of the places that I have named and that we've discussed will have their own separate contracts. You'll have a contract with your client, but these hotels will have contracts. The band will have a contract. The photographer. If you have entertainers, A-list, B-list, whatever list they're coming off of, generally they will have some type of requirement or rider for their music to sound right, some electronic audio equipment, or if you have a situation where they need dressing rooms and things like that, then they will have a rider that tells you what they want in those dressing rooms and how the food needs to be and things like that. So those things you need to kind of get out of the way early, and you want to start addressing very early with your client or on behalf of your client. At the midpoint of your timeline, let's say you have a 1-year event. The midpoint would be somewhere between the 3rd and 4th, 5th month, because everything is always going to be advance of the date. It's never going to go right down to the date. But let's say 3, 4, 5 months in, this is now where you're circling back to make sure that second payments and things have been made, and making sure that if there are changes, maybe originally the family said they wanted red decorations, and then somewhere in you showed them the color swatches and they said, well, no, it's more maroon. You're just making sure that everything, your table linens and all of that, are matching and coordinating, and you're following through to make sure that any changes have been implemented, and that all of your contracts with caterers or whomever those changes might involve, they've been implemented, they've been in writing, they've been signed off on. And then as you're getting closer to the event, lots of things will need to be paid off. Lots of things will need to be set up. If there is some type of giveaways for events, gift bags or decorations, these things need to be created. You'll be checking back with whether it's a photographer or florist, maybe someone is making a tailor or making a suit or something. These are things that you're finalizing to make sure that they're in place. And then within the week of the event, just before, that's where a lot of pickups and deliveries are needing to be made. Sometimes you'll have things much earlier, but within that time, people may be setting up. If it's involving tents the day before, those types of things, linens and whatnot. You're checking weather, and then the day of, that will have pretty much a 30-minute itinerary. So from the waking time, 6, 7, arrival at site, delivery of merchandise, delivery of chairs or setup. All of that is pretty much going to go in half-hour increments until, and if you have a multifaceted event that's taking place maybe at an estate or a golf course where someone's using maybe the barn and they're using the main house, the gatehouse, they're using different parts, then you will have different pieces to that puzzle and several different timelines going, so that timeline A is for the main house and timeline B will be for maybe the gatehouse. But you just need to keep track of all the moving parts and make sure that everyone involved, your staff, the people who are contracted with you, like the caterers, the musicians, they all have copy of the timeline so they know what their role is and responsibility within that time frame. Also, make sure that you check your timeline often yourself and you have several copies with you for that day. For now, that's it. Please feel free to ask any questions at my website if you have them. Thank you.